Let's face it, guys, losing body fat really is not that hard as long as you're doing the daily actions required and you have the discipline to do so every single day. But what is hard is preventing muscle loss, and it takes years and years, months and months to build just a little bit of muscle, especially as a natural bodybuilder. So it is so important that when you go into a caloric deficit, you fight, you preserve all of that lean, metabolically active tissue that you earned through hard work and time while in a caloric surplus. So it's so important that when you dip into a caloric deficit, you also prevent that muscle loss. And in this video today, I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how you can do so. But first, we need to go pick up a new bike rack, everybody. I'm so excited. I finally get my bike rack on this car today, and it's going to just propel us, get us out on those trails so much faster. And then after that, we're gonna go hit up a shoulders and arm session. I got a little pre-workout concoction right here. We got some creatine in here, 5 grams, and then also some Project One First Form pre-workouts. That's basically a mix of some caffeine and some pump product too. So love this concoction right here. It's been one of my go-tos lately. We're gonna go get this rack, slam that pre-workout down, go hit up a session, and then maybe if we have some time at the end of the video, go hit up those trails a little bit. I know I'm ready, and I also know Scout is ready too. All right, guys, so my first tip when it comes to preventing any ounce of muscle loss is training and the way that you train. So the way that you train should not change if you're in a caloric deficit. You should still be focusing on moving heavy weights with high intensity and lower reps to preserve your muscle mass. So one of the age-old sayings, if you don't use it, then you lose it, is so true. When you're in a caloric deficit, you're more likely to lose muscle. Yes, so it's important that you continue to stimulate the muscle with high intensity, because if you stop going for that lower rep range, higher intensity, or the strength-focused style reps and really challenging your strength, you're going to be not placing your muscles under that same amount of stimulus as you once were previously, and that can lead to muscle loss. So what I always do is I always try and follow a program during my compound movements. So it might be 5x5, it might be 3 reps for 4 sets, but it's just very important that you don't always stay in the higher rep range. You continue to challenge your strength, and once you challenge your strength with those main compound movements, then it's okay to start going into those hypertrophy movements and going into about that 6 to 12 rep range and get up there a little bit more just to fill up a lot more volume to continue to preserve your muscle mass. So that's tip number 1. Do not change the way that you train. Continue to move heavy weights. The way I like to think about this most is whenever I go into my training session, someone is trying to want to take all of your gains, all your strength away, but it's up to you to fight against that. One last thing that I really should mention when it comes to being in a caloric deficit, when you first start and you're at a higher body fat percentage, so when I first started, I was at 20% body fat. That is enough stored energy. So I had stored energy on my body in terms of fat mass. That is enough stored energy to still actually allow you to gain a little bit of muscle mass when you're in a caloric deficit. And I said it, if you do it properly, it can be done. But as you continue to get a little bit lower in body fat percentage, say around that 13-ish body fat percentage, that's where it can get very difficult to start gaining muscle, and really then you're trying to preserve that muscle. All right, guys, we finally made it to the South Trails right here. I'm so excited about this bike rack right here. Again, this is the, I might butcher this name, the Kuwait or Kuwait, something like that, bike rack. Absolutely amazing. Right here, it's a 2 bike rack. I definitely can't say again how nice it is to be able to just throw this bike right on the rack, be able to go for a quick bike ride. Again, I'm so excited, but I also know that this guy is beyond excited for a bike ride. He loves it. Watch this. Scout, come here. Hey, buddy, wanna go for a bike ride? Scout? Okay. Or he'll just lick some snow. Hey, you. Scout, you ready for a bike ride, dude? Ready for a bike ride? But before we do go for this bike ride, I am actually going to talk about tip number 2, and that is for you guys to follow a high protein diet when you are cutting. It is so essential if you are trying to preserve your muscle mass that you have your diet filled with a lot of protein. And what I mean by a lot of protein, typically when I first start my fat loss phase, I always, even if I'm not in a fat loss phase too, if I'm bulking, I'm always having at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, minimally, every single day. However, again, when you're in a caloric deficit, you are more likely to lose muscle, and protein is going to be the saving grace macronutrient that's going to allow you to hold on to your muscle mass, which again takes so long to build. So you do not want to lose your muscle mass. And so how you can do that is start out your cut with at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, or per pound of lean skeletal muscle mass if you are a little bit higher in the body fat range. I can make another video on that if you guys are interested. Leave that down in the comment section. But typically as I go on through my cut also, I will tend to increase my protein a little bit more because, like I said, as you go further and further into your cut, the more likely, as you lose more body fat, the more likely your body is apt to turn towards its muscle mass also for energy, and that's what you do not want. So how you can prevent that as you get even further into your caloric deficit, you can even increase your protein by a little bit more. So again, I start my cut typically around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and every single time I make a change in my calories, I typically increase my protein just by a little bit. Typically when I'm at the end of my cut, I'll be around 1.1 to 1.2 times my body weight in grams of protein. And again, it gets up pretty high just to prevent the loss of muscle, which you don't want to do. So anyways, guys, we're gonna go hit up the trails now. I am beyond excited to do so.
I just wanna make you mine.
With this guy, and I know he loves it, and I love it too. This bike rack's gonna be a game changer, guys. All right, so yeah, again, we might not be able to go on a lot of the bike trails today, mainly because it's supposed to be all snow. And not only that too, but yeah, proper trail etiquette. My team have to go clear up the trails and never found again. Oh, I'm going uphill. Here we go. Dig deep down, dig deep down.
I just wanna make you mine.
All right, guys, so that right there, going all along that way, that is our trail system, and unfortunately it is filled up with snow, so we will not be hitting the trails today, guys, but we are going to be ripping on this road right here. So we're gonna get this guy and myself our steps in too. Tip number 3, and honestly, tip number 3 is one of the biggest tips I can give right here, and that is to make sure that you are eating as much food as you can for as long as you can, and doing as least amount of cardio as you can for as long as you can. And let me explain why. So it's very typical that people reduce their calories by a ton and they increase their cardio by a ton when they first start going into a caloric deficit. And what that can do, that can run the risk of you tapping into that muscle storage, because you're dropping your calories too low, you're increasing your calories too high, and your body has nothing else to turn towards other than body fat and muscle to burn. And so if you want to maintain and prevent any form of muscle loss, you want to make sure that you are not reducing your calories too fast and you're not increasing your cardio too fast also. So again, my goal personally is to lose 1.5 pounds of body weight per week, okay? And as I see that scale continually doing that, I am not going to make any changes to my calories. But the instant I see a plateau, I have 2 options. I can either decrease my calories just by a little bit, or I can increase my cardio just a little bit. And right now, my mode of cardio, again, I like to do biking, I like to do walking with Scout, whatever it is to get me outside. But again, I don't want to do too much of it because I can run the risk of burning my muscle mass too, and that is what we do not want. However, I like to incorporate cardio just because one, it's really fun for me, and two, it allows me to eat more food, so I feel more satiated, and you could probably guess that that makes the cut a lot easier mentally also. But it's important that you do not reduce your calories too fast, and in fact, eat as much as you possibly can, as long as you're seeing that scale consistently decreasing that 1.5 or 1 pounds per week. And as long as you're seeing that scale being reduced, don't decrease your calories at all. But the instant you start seeing that scale not dipping down, that is when you want to start decreasing the calories just by a little bit. And then again, you want to continually monitor that body weight each and every single week so that you can make those little changes, whether you're decreasing your calories or increasing your cardio. Dude, did you have a good bike ride? Did ya? Oh, yeah, you did. This guy, seriously, is a bike ride lover. Well, anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you guys learned something new about preventing the loss of muscle. Again, it's so important. I can't say it enough. You guys work day in, day out for months and years to build every single gram, every ounce of lean muscle tissue. So it is so vital that when you go into a short caloric deficit, that you do it the proper way so you don't lose that hard-earned muscle. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned something new, make sure you hit that like button. I always appreciate that, and it helps get my channel out to other people who could also learn and benefit from this information. Also, if you're new here, and also from what my stats shows that a lot of people are watching my videos, and those people that are watching my videos and engaging and liking them are not subscribing. So if you do subscribe, I greatly appreciate that. You can do that right here. If you missed the last episode of the Summer Sizzle series, also check that out right here, guys. As always, I appreciate you watching all the way through to the end, and then make sure that not only you listen to these things and these advices that I give you, but you take action on it. That's the most important thing. Have a good evening, everybody, or have a good day, whatever it is. Catch you in the next video.